Hello everyone, welcome to the Warrnambool City Council meeting. It's great to see we've got a full gallery, or pretty full gallery here tonight. Just before we start, I'd just like to say a really big welcome to Leadership Great South Coast, especially Kate Roach, who's their Chief Executive Officer in here, and Daisy Yee, Warrnambool City Council's own, who's taking part in the program as well. So thank you all so much for coming tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the meeting. Could everyone please stand for the opening prayer and original custodian statement? Almighty God, grant to this council wisdom, understanding and sincerity of purpose for the good governance of this city. Amen. And council acknowledges the Peak Wurrong and Curry Wurrong peoples of the Maar Nation, the land, waterways and skies within the Warrnambool municipality, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Thank you everyone, please be seated. We'll move on to item 2, the apologies. I don't think there are any apologies this evening. So we'll move on to item 3, the confirmation of minutes. So can we get a mover that the minutes of the scheduled meeting held on the 7th of April 2025 be confirmed? Councillor Arnott, do we have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler. Do any councillors wish to speak? We'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 4, declaration by officers and councillors of any conflicts of interest. Are there any conflicts of interest this evening? Councillor Ziegler.
I understand there's a public question relating to the Dennington flood study. I declare a conflict.
No worries, Councillor Ziegler. We'll come back to that when we get to questions. No other conflicts? All right, we'll move on to item 5, the mayoral presentation. It has been a big month in Warrnambool since we last met. The May races last week, it was a really big 3 days for the city, and it was great. The weather was turned on as well. Thanks so much to everyone out there at the race club for all the work they did, because it's a huge event for Warrnambool. It's a huge drawcast. Most of the councillors here actually turned up, and I think they had a really good day. The night before, the CEO and I, we actually went to the Greyhounds and saw the Warrnambool Cup as well, which is one Greyhounds night of nights, and it was really, really good. And it was also great to see the Jack Daffy Memorial Race again this year after the passing of Jack last year. So that was really good. Also in the last month as well, I got appointed to the mayoral panel with Minister Stakos. And look, it is an honour to be chosen, one of 9 mayors out of the 79 councils in Victoria. And look, I'm really looking forward to working with Minister Stakos and the other mayors to hopefully try and shape local government. And just over the weekend, we had the federal election result finally, and congratulations to everyone who put themselves forward in the federal election campaign, and congratulations to Dan Tian, who will continue to be the member of Wannon, and we look forward to working with you. We'll now move on to item 6, the public question time. Councillor Ziegler, if you'd like to leave, if that's all right. Declare a conflict. Now, public questions. We have one late question at Mr Mason.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. The question is from Michelle Perry. It's a very long and quite technical question broken in 2 parts. I have provided a copy of the question to all councillors, so you've got a written copy of it. I'm not intending to read the question verbatim, and I understand Ms Perry's not here today, so I'll kind of provide a summarised version of it, and then I'll ask, with your blessing, Mr Mayor, that the Director of Planning or Director of City Futures responds to the question. So the question relates to the South Warrnambool and Dennington flood study, and the question is seeking some detail about the basis for the flood modelling. And so the question has been asked, could Council clarify whether the source of the GMS data and resulting IRI is in line with the Australian rainfall runoff guidelines, and whether together with best estimates of the 50 percentile quartile of the GMS, whether effectively we've got good confidence in this data. And the second part of the question is, could Council clarify whether Streamology and council engineers reviewed review is considered an impartial assessment of the flood study methods against Objective 2 for protecting and enhancement of Warrnambool's coastline and inland waterways, rather than the process of strategic circular consultation. So I might ask Mr. Coghlan to answer these questions.
Thanks, and we thank Michelle for her question, a very detailed question. And the attention to this issue. It's a very important item for Council to consider. So in response to the first question, the modelling was undertaken in accordance with version 4.1 of the Australian Rainfall and Runoff Guidelines as stated in section 1.4 of the report, where increased rainfall intensity has been defined in accordance with the guidance provided in the draft update to the Climate Change Considerations chapter in Australian Rainfall and Runoff, Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment and Water 2023. This is where the higher global mean surface temperature, GMST, estimates of 3.6 and 4.4 degrees are sourced from. At the time of completing the flood modelling, this was the best available information. In regards to question 2, the streamology review process did not result in the 1.2 metre sea level rise scenario being adopted. The independent review by streamology was focused on the technical aspects of the study, model setup and parameters, whereas the adopted climate change scenarios have been informed by the Glenelg Hopkins Catchment Management Authority in light of current planning policies. It is also noted that the sea level rise assumption in the model has limited impact on the final mapping, affecting areas at the very bottom of the catchment. And these are both really good questions that would be great to be, can be considered again by the planning panel if the item progresses to the state government.
Thank you, Mr. Coghlan. No further questions.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Can we please bring back Councillor Ziegler? Thank you, Wendy. All right, we'll now move on to item 7, reports, and we'll move on to item 7.1, the draft council plan 2025-2029 and the annual action plan 2025-2026. Mr. Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. The council plan is our most important strategic document. It provides clarity to the organisation and the community and the council on what we're going to be focused on over the next 4 years. The draft council plan before you has been developed, as councillors well know, after a number of consultation efforts with the community and numerous workshops with councillors. We've also undertaken workshops with council staff. The plan is based on 5 pillars: city futures, city infrastructure, city sustainability, city wellbeing and city leadership. And it's recommended tonight that council put the draft council plan and annual action plan out for further community feedback, with the intention being that these 2 documents would come before council at the June council meeting for adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. Were there any questions on these? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the officer's recommendation that council approves the release of the draft council plan 2025 to 2029 for public exhibition and community feedback, and 2, that council approves the release of the annual action plan 2025-2026 for public exhibition and community feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Jelly. Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, this is a really important document, and it does actually underpin everything we do, as our CEO has said. We review it, the plan, every 4 years, and it is the document that drives all our work over the next term. I'm very pleased with the final outcome of the plan, and I feel it addresses some issues that have significant impact on the community. Like as I've said, the document does shape how the council moves forward, and it's very important that we do garner community feedback. So please read it and pass on your feedback to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Jelly.
Yes, as Councillor Arnott has said, it is a very important document, and well, I think we say this time after time, we ask the community to look at these documents that we put out for public consultation, and often we don't get people responding. And it's really important. Here's your opportunity. Like, you can come to us at any time, but here's your opportunity for a really important document that we will be voting on, in essence, in another month's time. So please go in and have a look at it. Come back to us. We have done a lot of talking to the community. We've gone out and had sessions where we've had a few people and we've had, some feedback there, but not a lot. So here's the final opportunity before this goes to councillors for adoption, and here's your opportunity, and please take it up.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Do we have any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. Just picking up off both Councillor Arnott and Councillor Jelly's sentiments there. Super duper important for the community to lean in. Obviously we did a lot of listening post early on, and as a new councillor, it's really good to see this plan and action plan come together and start to see the direction that we're going to take over the next 4 years. So, real shout out to the community to weigh in, have your say, provide us with a bunch of feedback that we can take on board, and progress up to the June meeting to get this ratified. So,
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Again, it's an old message now. We've all said it. Community feedback is incredibly important, and believe what you like, we actually do take notice of the community feedback. It comes to us and we look at it and we weigh it up against the plan. And the ultimate plan is a result of your feedback.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Arnott, do you wish to have anything to close?
No, thank you.
And it is super important, especially we're a new council and we're at the start of a new council term, and everything is guided by the council plan. So please take your time to have your say, because what council does, we're an arm of government. We're here to support you and we want to be able to deliver what you, the community, actually want. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Now move on to item 7.2, the draft budget. Mr Mason.
Thank you. The draft budget for 25-26 has been prepared again following community consultation and numerous councillor workshops. The budget, I think, reflects the tight financial circumstances facing the sector more broadly, and unashamedly has a strong focus on maintaining what we have, otherwise known as budget renewal or asset renewal. The budget shows that council can remain in a sound financial position, and is in a sound financial position, but we will need to continue to work with some discipline and care as we go forward. So the recommendation is to put the budget out for community feedback.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the officer's recommendations for the draft budget be accepted.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate the corporate services team on such a detailed budget. It's obviously been a first-time councillor, and the council is such a large organisation. To see the detail that goes into it is a credit to the team that give us the information that they do provide us. Look, it is difficult with rate capping that we only, the rates increased by 3%, but that's only $1.38 a week for the ratepayers. And when you look at, we're contributing almost $29 million worth of infrastructure works this year. That's sort of really pleasing to see. And given it's out for exhibition, I'd sort of just encourage all the ratepayers to view the draft budget, whether it be through the Your Say Warrnambool portal on the website, or alternatively the hard copy in the council offices.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Councillor Ziegler.
I would just endorse the comments of my colleague, but also again would suggest that we can make this work so much better if we get submissions from the public.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Edis, do you wish to add anything?
I think.
Oh, Councillor Benter.
Sorry, a bit slow on the old computer. Yeah, I'd like to just commend the council on the effort they've done, considering the restraints they've got and the extra costs incurred with the gas and the power and the insurances going up. Yeah, it's making it more difficult and difficult every year to get the budget to work. I do hope the community does take the opportunity to have a real good look at it, and then and also put in submissions, even if they've got ideal projects that they'd like to see get off the ground. So there's an opportunity there to put it in for the budget to see if it'll get off the ground. There's been submissions in the past which have extending the library hours, extending the aqua zone times. So yeah, the ability is there if the cause is worth it. So yeah, just hopefully the community will have a good look at it, and yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Edis, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, Mayor.
And it is so important. The budget's actually what funds what we're trying to achieve with our council plan. So do please have your say. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.3, the revenue and rating plan. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. The Revenue Rating Plan is a document required under the Local Government Act and must be adopted by the Council by the 30th of June. We're not recommending any significant changes to the existing revenue and rating plan. So this is a recommendation to put the document out for exhibition, but in reality, there's little real change to the previous strategy.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott?
I'll move the officer's recommendation be adopted. Thank you.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edis. Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this is all about how council generate revenue. As our CEO has said, there's been little change from the rating plan from the last time, so I'm happy to support that it goes out for public exhibition, and as we all know, have your say if you need to.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. The only point I want to make is that it's important to note that the plan is reviewed annually and reviewed when required as well. So that is an ongoing live document.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Do we have any other councillors wish to speak? Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, thank you.
And this is really, it sets how it actually works with our differential rating system. That's really what this does. And it's something that is reviewed, especially at the start of every council term. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.4, the Councillor's Gift Policy 2025. Mr Mason.
Mr Mayor, the council gift policy is an existing policy that has been reviewed. The policy seeks to ensure that gifts to councillors that are given in their councillor capacity are managed in a very transparent way, and that's important from an integrity and corruption management perspective. The recommendation before you is that you revoke the existing policy and adopt the new policy. The new policy has sought to tighten up a few things, but is fundamentally not significantly different.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Ziegler. Oh, yep, Councillor Ziegler.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'll move that council revokes the councillor's gift policy 2024 and adopt the attached councillor's gift policy 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Councillor Ziegler.
As the CEO has already alluded, it's very important that council be seen to be upfront and transparent, and that the revised policy actually says that any gift that's given to a councillor must be declared, so that there's no doubt that so long as the councillors follow the policy, that there's any corruption that way.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. Just echoing the words of Councillor Ziegler, transparency and policies are really, really important. And I think the fact that we're updating them really, really regularly shows really good governance. And I think it puts us in a really good position so that we're abiding by the things we need to under the Local Government Act.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to add anything to close?
I think it's all been said, Mayor.
No, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.5, the Sporting Reserve Signage Policy Review. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. The existing sporting reserve signage policy expires this month, and as such it has been reviewed. The policy provides direction to tenants of council sporting reserves about the extent and placement of sponsorship signage in particular. Following consultation with a number of clubs, and we put the revised policy out to all clubs. The policy has had some revisions, and it's recommended that council adopt the policy. So the recommendation in two parts before you.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the council revoke the Sporting Reserve Signage Policy 2022 and adopt the Sporting Reserve Signage Policy 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. Signage on sporting reserves for all clubs, it's a huge source of their funding through sponsorship, and it allows local organisations to advertise their business while providing financial support to these certain clubs. The 2022 signage policy was outdated and from driving around town included a number of parameters that clubs weren't adhering to and council was not enforcing. The 2025 signage policy has been updated to allow greater flexibility with current signage on all reserves that are there at the moment, and also allows the tenants of the Reed Oval, both cricket and football, to source financial gain through the signage on the eastern side of the ground from point post to point post, and also coaches' shoulders. The signage, while significantly less than what's allowed on other grounds, it will be attractive because it'll be brand new, and I think it'll provide some character to the Reed Oval, which has been missing since the redevelopment.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks to Councillor Edis, who covered that off very eloquently. Just to add a little bit more, policy such as this creates real transparency for the clubs, so they know what their obligations are under the policy. It's really clear. They know how to meet them, and the fact that we can do that makes it really easy and workable for all the clubs, which is a great result.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Jelly.
Thank you. Look, this is a review with a few extra bits in it. I understand sponsorship is important for clubs. I get that. As long as every club is treated the same. The review of this policy, I was a bit disappointed that more clubs didn't come back with some feedback from it, and I know clubs are busy and everything, and look, maybe some of the clubs that looked at it just agreed with it and didn't bother, but as we've said with a lot of things tonight, feedback's really, really important. I think the proposal is to have at the Reed Oval the advertising from point post to point post. I think it was proposed to us that we do goalpost to goalpost, but I don't think that was appropriate. I just think that, there needs to be good governance when working with these policies in all factors of it, and I just think that if this goes through tonight, that especially because the majority of the change in this has been about the Premier Oval, the Reed Oval, that I would hope that the Warrnambool Football Club will ensure that they work in with the other summer tenant of the grounds, which is the Nestles Cricket Club, so that any sponsors who are the same for both clubs, and I understand there's 4 or 5 that are similar same sponsors, that the Warrnambool Football Club works with the cricket club And so the cricket club are financially benefit from all of this as well. It's not just on for one, the winter tenant. So I think that needs to be really talked about for the two clubs, so there's some fair footing there and it's not just about one club.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. I really do understand the need for uniformity around the ovals regarding signage and sponsorship. And that we're talking about a visual amenity, safety and a uniformity. I understand it also allows smaller clubs to attract sponsorship signage. However, I do have an issue with the Reed Oval signage policy. When Reed Oval was redeveloped, it was understood that it is a regional ground. The surface is far above any of the other grounds in the leagues. So the clubs that became the tenants were fully aware of the restrictions regarding signage and keeping that oval relatively free from signage. And I think because those clubs have the privilege of playing on that ground, I don't see the need to change this policy so drastically. So it's actually saying that you've got the premier ground, but you can treat it just the same as the local grounds, and I don't think that's fair. I feel we're making significant allowances for the Reed Oval, so I don't support the new policy, proposed policy. I do hope that if this policy is adopted, that with the ability to have more sponsorship signage, that the winter tenant will be able to pay the significant arrears owed to council. So I would hope if this policy is adopted that the winter tenant does take note. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Edis, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, Mayor.
All right, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Edis, Councillor Ziegler, Councillor Jelly, Councillor Walsh, Councillor Benter and Councillor Blaine. All those against? Councillor Arnott, the motion's carried 6-1. We'll now move on to item 7.6, the place-based strategic framework. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. Warrnambool Council has an amazing 61 publicly available play spaces or playgrounds, ranging from obviously the very significant Lake Batow facility to small playgrounds servicing local neighbourhoods. The playground strategy seeks to provide a strategic basis for the ongoing maintenance, renewal and upgrade of our playgrounds, and it's recommended that the strategy be adopted.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the recommendation of the council adopt the play space strategic framework 2025 to 2034.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Jelly. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. Play spaces are really, really important for as a father of young kids and for all kids that want to go out and have a good time, a good run around if they're in sort of smaller blocks and parents just to have some time out. So I think some of the play spaces the council have around are some of the best going. Lake Batow is brilliant, and in the last 3 years when you can see that council spent significant funds on upgrading 9 playgrounds located around the area, around the Shire, and I think this framework is a great step forward in moving forward with continued works on playgrounds.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Councillor Jelly.
Yes, sorry, lost my place. Yeah, look, it's a great document. 61 publicly available playgrounds. It's a lot of playgrounds when, you know, we know there are when you drive around and look at them, but when it's actually in front of you and you realise that, look, it's a big upkeep for council. the lawns, we need to ensure the playgrounds are kept safe and up to current required standards for, and plan for growth in the new areas right through the city, in all the areas. I personally would like to see playgrounds fenced with appropriate vehicle gates installed into the fences in case of vehicle access needs. A fence enclosed playground would be a much better safety play space for children, especially if close to a road where a child could run out in the road or wander. Yes, it's up to parents or carers to supervise their children. If you've got 2 or 3 children there and one's doing one thing and you've got a baby in your arms, or as a grandparent you've got 2 or 3 little boys there and one's going one way and you're worried they're going to be in the water or, on the road, I would love to see that with access and understand there needs to be access. Maybe that can happen in time to come, but there's a lot of work being put into this, and it's a great framework to work with.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I'll endorse this particular framework. I think that we have to be conscious of access to the playgrounds. It's been discussed in briefings that wheeled access to playgrounds is incredibly important. So I hope that our discussions in briefings bring that to the forefront in terms of the design and refurbishment of a few of these grounds. People like mothers with prams, older folk with wheelie frames and those things have got to have clear access to the playgrounds, so that if they're supervising children, it's easier access for them. Where the playgrounds are surrounded by grass, it makes it terribly difficult for that category of people to get there. So we've already discussed it. We've brought it to the attention of the relevant operative staff. So I think that it's important that we remember those kind of aspects for playgrounds.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Benter.
Yeah, I'd just like to the plan, it's a really good start, the plan. I'd just like to reinforce Councillor Jelly's and Councillor Ziegler's comments, especially about the fencing, where there needs to be protocols put in place to establish the risk in the area of the playground so that appropriate fencing can be done. Also, footpaths to playgrounds, it's Richard's alluded to, or access. We've had a situation where it's all fine and well to replace these playgrounds, but if people can't get access to the playgrounds, sort of defeats the purpose. So we've got to be mindful of that going forward. I understand it's not generally in the scope when they do a playground, but it needs to be addressed, because access to playgrounds was one of the topics actually during the campaign, that there's footpaths going past the playground but not to the playground. And if you're in Ellinsford, there's no footpaths go to the playground at all. So it really does need addressing. And also shelter. We've got the space, but you need to also activate it more to encourage more participation at these areas. So we need roof space with seats. So when the weather changes, they've got somewhere to get out of it for 10, 15 minutes while it passes. So when we spend over $100,000 on a playground, another $10,000 for a roof space to increase participation is value for money. So they're just options to be considered and looked at in the future with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Any other councillor wish to speak? I actually think the strategic framework plan as well, it's so important for the safety of users, because we had a few incidences early in the year over Christmas, and I actually think this is really important to make sure that we have our playgrounds at a standard that is safe for all of the users. plus having ways in which we can decommission and making sure that, you know, playgrounds, they are right and safe for all of our kids, because no one wants to see anyone getting hurt on any of our playgrounds. Sorry, Councillor Edis, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.7, the Community Development Fund 2025-2026 guidelines. Mr Mason.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Council's Community Development Fund provides important funding for sports, arts and environmental projects and activities. With the community and interested groups been invited to apply for this funding. Officers have reviewed the existing funding guidelines, and we're recommending one significant change, which is the inclusion of a new category of funding, which is for minor capital works. If adopted, the guidelines would be used for the allocation and assessment of funding in the 25-26 financial year.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor. This is one of those really good feel-good things, okay? So we've got a pool of money to help.
Sorry? You've got it.
You've got to move.
You've got to do the moving
Oh,
part,
sorry. I've got carried away with myself, haven't I? Sorry, everyone, my apologies. I will move the officer's recommendation be adopted, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Jelly. Councillor Arnott, take it away from me.
Right, I'll go back to the start and bore you all again. As I was saying previously, look, this is a really good fund to help small groups, associations. We have a pool of $100,000 to spread amongst quite a few areas, like our CEO said, the sport and rec, art and culture, the environment and sustainability, and the new one, which is the minor works section. There is guidelines to be adhered to, but this is a way we can all help out a lot of smaller clubs. There is a link to the council website and social media platforms, and there will be an information forum to be held at the Lighthouse Theatre in May. Now, this is a real opportunity for groups to get there, discuss their eligibility and proposals, so very supportive of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Jelly.
Yes, this is a great opportunity for many clubs within the city. Yes, the newly updated guidelines are appropriate and even more inclusive this year, especially looking at provision for women and girls and people with all abilities to access many things. So, and the new minor capital works program, as the CEO said, I would encourage all Warrnambool clubs to have a look, attend the session available, ask if you're unsure, contact council, ask questions, to look at the guidelines and make sure you follow the key dates for considering an application, because it's a great way for us to be able to give money to the community to benefit us all.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Councillor Venter.
Yes, no, it's good to see and the opportunity being given to the community to apply for the funds. I guess the inclusion of the minor capital works I think is fantastic, considering we've lost the ability with the small infrastructure fund for groups to apply for funding. Hopefully we can build on that minor capital works and maybe increase some funding overall next year. But yeah, I hope everyone has an opportunity, or groups, to apply for the funding, for their clubs. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Venter. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor. Just quickly, it's for those groups that are pricking up their ears about this possibility. There's a fairly clear table which has been set out in this particular motion that shows what will and won't be funded, and that's really worth them looking at to see whether their ideas for their club or group will be supported or it won't.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything to close?
Look, I'll just reiterate that in-person information session is Tuesday, May the 20th. So if anyone's interested, have a look and get along to that information session, because a lot of your questions will be answered there.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.8, the Festival and Events Fund 2025-2026. Mr Mason.
Thank you. Through Mayor, this is similar to the previous report in that it involves the review of guidelines for a funding program. In this case, the Festival and Events Fund. The Festival and Events Fund is an important source of funding for quite a number of events across the city that bring people and activity to Warrnambool. The guidelines have been reviewed and we are not recommending any significant changes. So the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Are there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor, I'll move that the Festivals and Events Fund Guidelines 2025-26 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edis. Councillor Ziegler.
It's worthy of note that the objectives, as mentioned by the CEO, haven't changed all that much, but it's particularly heartening to see that new events that have not been funded previously will also be included. The funding streams include support for tourism, community events, business events and conferences, partnership streams, and the community Christmas carol events. They're all very important things for the community, and it's pleasing that the guidelines are set out for that.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Edis.
No, Mayor.
Any other councillor wish to speak on this?
No,
Oh, sorry.
yep.
Yeah, Councillor. Sorry, I'm trying to watch the screen.
No, that's all right. Just to, I suppose, reiterate on the importance of festivals and the arts or fundraising events for the community. It does make the community, well, not fundraising events, community events. It does make the community feel much richer and more vibrant. And we actually do have a pool of $200,000 there for the 5 funding streams. So there's varying criteria. So applicants can only apply for one stream, but I would urge them all to do so.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to add anything to close?
No.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.9, the Ziegler Parade Bridge Management Plan. Mr Mason.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Recent condition assessments of the Ellensford Bridge have unfortunately revealed that the bridge is nearing its end of life. Officers are recommending that the bridge be eventually closed in 2029 and that the focus of our efforts as an organisation is to work with the Department of Transport to improve the safety of access and egress from Allensford onto the Princess Highway. A 7-part recommendation covering all of these items is before council.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Are there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Jelly.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to move the officer's recommendation for this particular item.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Arnott. Councillor Jelly.
Thank you. This is a lot of information that's been before us. We've talked about it over the last few months. It hasn't been considered for quite a few years now, and I personally think it should have been prior to this. The bridge is reaching the end of its life, as the CEO said, and that's why we have to consider this. We have to take on the information that's been put forward to us by engineers and associated people. In this, that's why we need to look at it, and that's why we have an end date for this project being at the end of 2029. The bridges are going to shut tomorrow, but in such a significant issue with this, we need to plan for this. We're actually investing into the bridge whilst working through to make safer access for traffic and the community using, living and going through the Allansford area. Warrnambool City Council needs, and they already have done this, we've got reports and things that they've already considering. Warrnambool City Council needs to immediately continue the discussions and planning with the Department of Transport and Planning to put into action the upgrade and better safety configuration access to Garibaldi Lane, Princess Highway, and also at Growers Road where it meets the Princess Highway. Putting off this decision only impedes working with the department and getting the best for those access points for safer access, trucks, cars. You know, there's already a bridge beside the existing bridge, the older bridge. There's a bridge on the highway. So that's why I feel that I support this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Councillor Arnott.
Yes, thank you. As we've said, we've had many reports to us regarding the bridge, the Allansford-Ziegler Parade Bridge, and it is nearing its end of life. Now, I know and I understand that many people in Allansford would still like a new bridge there, but in my opinion, even if council had the finances to put a new bridge there or to seek funding, which is highly unlikely to be awarded, it doesn't solve the problem of the entry and exits to Allansford. Those problems regarding Garibaldi Lane and Growers Road still remain. So to me, I think it's imperative that we work really closely with the Department of Transport and Planning. We have to get there, we have to advocate, and we have to look at that whole entry-exit point of Allansford holistically. Keeping that bridge open is not going to fix any of those traffic concerns regarding the bridge, the entry and exit. We also have to look at the two homes that are to the west of the bridge, their entry and exit there. So there's quite a bit of work to do, quite a bit of advocacy, but we do need an end point. It's not tomorrow, it is 4.5, nearly 5 years down the track. We do have time to rectify this, and I think if we all put our heads down and really go for it, we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. Circa late 1800s construction of this bridge, so there's sort of no questions about its age, and it's heading towards its end of life. Completely understand that. Entry and egress from Allansford is the greater issue as far as I'm concerned here. I don't feel totally comfortable setting a closure date when there is a lot of work that needs to happen between now and December 2029. We know how slow the engagement with different areas of government can be, and I'm not totally confident that what we need to do here is going to be able to be solved in that time. So as a council, we need to get on the front foot and engaging with both the community, in particular, obviously the community in Allansford, and also the appropriate government departments, Department of Transport and ministers, etc. As I stated at the start, to be really clear, the closure of the bridge is not the most important outcome here. Getting in and out of Allansford is dangerous, and we need to really solve that problem. Trying to get off the highway at Growers Road is really, really uncomfortable. And then exiting back onto the highway is not great and not safe. I'm certainly surprised there hasn't been more accidents in that section of the highway. So significant amount of work that needs to happen there. Work which can't just be done by the council, needs to be done by partnering with other parts of government. So there's pedestrian access issues that also need to be thought about. Many a time seeing people moving from Allansford up to the Speedway and back in complete darkness really close to the road. I've heard plenty of close calls. So I think there's some real strategic thought that needs to go into what's starting and finishing at both ends of Allansford. Because at the moment, I'm not entirely comfortable with what goes on there. So whether this bridge ends up taking cars, whether it's removed, whether it becomes pedestrian cycling, I'm not to say right now, but I think there's a lot of work that needs to happen before we can even get to talking about the bridge closing. Because as far as I'm concerned, without those things, that bridge can't be closed. There's too many other issues for us to push other traffic back on at those other two entry and exit points. We need a real holistic approach to how we deal with this issue. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Benter.
Thank you, Mayor Blaine. Yeah, wow, hasn't it been a couple of months? The bridge. Yes, there's more to it than just the bridge. There's the Garibaldi entry exit and there's the Growers Road. But at the moment, the bridge is our safest option. So to put a close date on it doesn't sit well with me, and as your fellow councillors know, that it doesn't. But if it's going forward, we've got to look at the right outcomes and the right path forward. Now, in regards to that, there's a lot to be done, like we said. The intersections have to be approved or be worked with the Department of Planning and Transport before that can get across the line. So we're going to have to work hard. One of the areas that's been overlooked is the Allansford School. Now, if we go closing that bridge, the traffic impacts around that school is just going to be huge. It's already an issue in Frank Street. Now you're going to have all the drop-off pickups using that circuit, which hasn't been factored into this at all. So to actually go closing the bridge before that's sorted out as well is another issue. The property on 10215, which is the property west of the bridge on the Princess Highway, they're probably unaware of what's going on at the moment because they've had no consultation, okay? And that goes back to another topic that I also made people aware in the chamber, that you've had no consultation with the community out here in Allansford, which I think's a poor effort, okay, in regards to that. I understand the reasoning, but we've still got to front up, whether it's good or bad, to the community and explain what's going on. It's like we're shutting the gate, the horse is gone, and now we're going to tell the community what's going on. But in relation to that, I've had assurances if we haven't achieved all these goals, that the bridge will get revisited and potentially life extended. Now, whether that's a 1 year or 2 year, and I'll be holding people to account to that, because I've cooled my heels on this because of that information. So it's been a tough battle for me, okay, personally, and for that room. So I'm disappointed I couldn't be there tonight because of my health. But as far as closing the bridge, it's a definite no, okay? And with the options, we haven't sought funding. There's been no funding sought. I've done a little bit of delving. The bridge renewal program, the criteria, that bridge meets all the criteria. So we can, not saying that that's what we're going to do, but there is the possibilities there that haven't been investigated. The appetite for the community to go seek funds or lobby the government to replace the bridge, that opportunity's never been given to the community because they were unaware of what was going on until tonight or to 3 days ago. So the community needs that opportunity, and I'm hoping they will stand up and jump up and down in regards to that. I can only do so much by myself, okay? So so thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler.
Thanks, Mayor. Yes, look, I've agonised on this one as well. I note the points that made by Councillor Walsh and Councillor Benter, and to some extent I agree with them. I think that setting a firm date for closure of the bridge is the wrong way to go, because basically, taking the cynical point of view, we have, the motion points to the fact that we have to lobby with the Department of Transport and Planning. I'm a cynic. We can lobby for years. We've lobbied for years for road repair. We can lobby with this mob and get nothing. 4 years may not be long enough. We still have to have an option that allows the bridge to stay open if it needs to until that point. Then I worry about the pedestrians and cycle riders. There is no place for pedestrians and cycle riders on the existing highway bridge. Refurbishment and all the rest of it, I understand that the bridge is at the end of its life. Any person with any practical capacities would acknowledge that, and people with more expertise than I have actually told us that it's at its end of life. But despite the fact that the council was given a lot of money some years ago and it was handed back because they couldn't do anything with it, nothing's really happened to the bridge at all in terms of refurbishment or repair or anything for many, many years. Okay, we've allocated $400,000 to do what we can to it, but until we've got some firm commitment from the Department of Transport for the works to happen to Garibaldi Lane and Grower access to Allansford, I don't think we should set a firm date on it. I've been told that if we set a firm date, it'll push the department to take action. Well, again, my cynical voice says, they don't care about South West. That's been proven over many, many years. Our roads are in a terrible state. They haven't spent any dollars on that, and they will have to be pushed very, very hard to do anything about this particular bridge and the pedestrian access and access to Growers Road, access from Garibaldi. So I'm not happy with it.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, look, it's definitely a contentious issue and one, like other councillors, have gone back and forth with over the period of the last few days, and I can agree with items that councillors raised, and there's areas that I disagree with as well. In terms of the set date to close the bridge, I'm agreeing with the recommendation on the understanding that it is there to push the government into a resolution within that time frame, but also the understanding that if the government doesn't come through with the rectification measures, that this will be extended. I'm certainly not at all for demolition of the bridge. I sort of note that the estimated costings to demolish the bridge are very similar to item 6.3 in the investigation report to enhance the durability. So I'm of the opinion if we're going to spend the money to demolish it, we could spend that same money to enhance it. So again, concurring with other councillors that the main issue here is the entrance off the highway, that we need to get that solved first, and then that will then lead into what we do with the bridge in the future.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. And look, I'd like to add that when it comes to the bridge, it was a shame in 2017 when council decided at that point in time to hand back funding that they'd actually received for the bridge. We're in a different time now. We're nearly a decade later, and I can't change that, and no one here can change that. And the number one thing I look at when I look at the Ziegler Parade Bridge, it isn't ease of access or anything else. It is the safety of the users. And that is, where has this come from? This has come from reports about the structural integrity of that bridge and making sure that every car that goes over it is safe. And the bridge is at end of life, as everyone has said here this evening. And the bridge is, as it continues to move towards end of life, is going to become more and more unsafe. And that is why these works from the highway, from Garibaldi and Growers Road are critical, because they will have to be the new access points for Allansford. Because I look at the bridge, and when it hits the point where it has hit critical failure, or it's at a point where it is unsafe for cars to go across it, there is no way that I would want to see this council being the ones who are looking after that bridge when a car falls over and goes into the river, because everything else doesn't matter. It's all about the safety of the users. And that would be my number one when it comes to this. And when it comes to the consultation isn't going to change the condition of that bridge, but what the consultation can do, and this is what we're going to be consulting about, is we're going to be looking at the bridge is at end of life, but what do you want to see? How are we going to get this access so that it is safe for every Elmsford resident to be able to get in and out of there? That is what we want to see. Councillor Jelly, do you wish to add anything to close?
Thank you. Yes, look, we've all got differing opinions and thoughts. Very much understand that. We cross over on quite a few things there. But as intended before, Warrnambool City Council needs to immediately continue the discussions with the Department of Transport and Planning, and having that end date there to work with them needs to be there to work with them to get a result. And those entrances and exit at those two roads are so important, and I think we need to work very hard, and our officers, I know, will do this and already have been talking to them. It's on their radar that we're looking at that, and let's get onto it straight away.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Edis, Councillor Arnott, Councillor Jelly, Councillor Walsh and Councillor Blaine. All those against? Councillor Ziegler and Councillor Benter. The motion is passed 5-2. We'll now move on to item 710, the joint venture South West TAFE and Warrnambool City Council.
Thank you, Mayor. The Florence Collins Childcare Centre has operated under a joint venture agreement between TAFE and Council since 1997. It's recommended that Council enter into a new agreement which will allow this important service to continue. So recommendation before you.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Oh, Councillor Jelly.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Think about what we're talking about. I would like to move that we accept the officer's recommendation for this.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Jelly.
Yes, look, this is something that has needed to happen for a little while. Officers have gone through this with South West TAFE, updated this agreement to make it clearer for the future. You know, things have changed since this was originally put together, so it's clearly agreed what this joint venture is about, and it's great to be working with South West TAFE in this venture for the future.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, I'll endorse the comments of my fellow councillor here. I think that this is a fairly logical move for us to take. The joint venture between South West TAFE and the council has benefits for both organisations.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? I'd just like to add, I actually think it's so important. We don't want to be closing childcare centres. We are a childcare desert here in southwest Victoria, and you know, this is one of the council-run centres that's that's been going on for a lot of years now with TAFE, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it continue for the next 25 years. Councillor Jelly, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, nothing to close, thank you.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 711, Council Plan Actions 2024-2025. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This report provides an update on the council plan actions for the up to the third quarter. This is part of our regular reporting on these items. So our recommendation is that it be received.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott.
I'd like to move that the council plan actions 24-25, January to March, quarter 3, be received. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Jelly. Councillor Arnott.
Thank you. Well, look, I really wasn't going to single out anything too much because I think the last one I had quite a bit to say about what was happening. I'd just like to make note that I am really pleased with all the significant projects that we are well along the way. There's a lot finished, and that's got to be a big thank you to the exec team and the officers and all the people that work throughout the organisation. We are approaching the end of the financial year, and to me, it looks a very positive document. So that's all I'd like to say. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly.
Yes, I'd agree with Councillor Arnott. Congratulations to staff. You know, all all these projects and updates are well on the way. They're either complete, nearly complete, or, you know, continuing on. There's no alarm bells for anything there, so it's a really good report, good results across the broad breadth of council projects. It's really good. I especially like to see the fabulous Library and Learning Centre continues to engage the community and run activities and events for people of all ages and abilities. The cumulative results for the third quarter for the library show 713 program sessions have been delivered to 13,485 participants. So it's the service that keeps giving. How lucky are we? And to get that feedback back and that, you know, it just proves what a great facility that is. And as we know, it's not only our city that uses it. So great report on that, and congratulations to all involved.
It's been a big project, that library, and it's been great seeing what it does. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to add? Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything to close?
I won't, thank you.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 712, Sister Cities Update. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. Warrnambool City Council has two existing sister city relationships, one with Miru in Japan and the second with Changchun in China. Mira. These relationships provide both economic and cultural exchange opportunities. It's been some time since Warrnambool Council sent a delegation, and during this time we have hosted a number of delegations from both cities and received invitations for us to visit. It's recommended that Council endorse a visit to both cities sometime in the next 18 months with the details to be ironed out.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor, I'll move that the council endorse a visit to both sister cities, Changchun in China and Miura in Japan within the next 18 months, with a focus on opportunities for our local tourism, education, agriculture and community members.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Councillor Ziegler.
Well, if only on the basis that the people from Miura have visited us several times and have now extended invitation. I think it's the utmost courtesy to return the favour, and I think we are bound to do it within the next 18 months.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Walsh? Oh, you're on mute, I think, Matt. Go
I
again.
am too. Thank you, Mayor. My apologies. I think it's really important as a community that we foster these relationships with our sister cities, and that will require visiting. They have been to see us numerous times. So I think this is a great opportunity to visit both Changchun and Miura. Obviously, they offer different aspects to Warrnambool and surrounds, the cultural stuff and also the business side. And, you know, obviously looking at opportunities to partner with businesses as well to get some real value out of this visit. It is important to note that travel will be funded by the individual councillors, not by the council. I think that's a really important thing. So, you know, this is not a junket that the ratepayers will be funding on our behalf. So anyone who does get the opportunity to do that will be doing that to their own financial costs. So, but a great opportunity nonetheless. We need to continue to foster these relationships. They're really important for Warrnambool and surrounds and our future generations.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? So it is important, especially for our sister city relationships, and as Councillor Walsh did point out, so this isn't a ratepayer funded trip in any way, shape or form in the next 18 months, and it won't just be council going as well. We will be extending invitations to other businesses and other interested parties to come along as well, but it'll be totally self-funded by the individuals who actually decide to go over there. So it's been, I think the last trip was in 2018. Pretty sure it was. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I think the last trip was in 2018, so we're nearly 10 years later, so I think it's really critical to be fostering those relationships. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to add anything to close?
Just a quick comment. People will ask what the benefit is to Warrnambool for these kind of cultural exchanges, and my answer to that is that it's about cultural enrichment. Not only that, but also the opportunity to expand possible business ventures and those kind of issues that may arise out of these. They've already happened through our previous exchanges, and I think that to do this not only enriches us culturally, but also offers opportunities for tourism expansion and possible business expansion.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.13, the informal meeting of council reports. So the reports are there in front of you. Has anyone got any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Reedus. Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that the recommendation that the record of the informal meeting of the council held on the 14th, the 22nd and the 28th of April 2025 be received.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Arnott. Do you wish to speak? No, Councillor wishes to speak? No changes? All right, we'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.14, the Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Activities Summary. The summary report's there for everyone. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott.
I'll move the officer's recommendation, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Jelly. Any councillor wish to speak? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Item 8, notices of motion. Mr Mason.
No notices, Mayor.
Item 9, general business. Did anyone have anything they want to bring up in general business this evening? Very good. We'll move on to item 10. There are no items of urgent business, Mr Mason?
No.
So we'll move on to item 11, close of the meeting. Thank you to the South West Coast Leadership Group for coming. It was great to have you here. Thank you.